ICE is making more daily arrests under President Donald Trump's second term than at any point in the last 10 years. Trump, of course, promised to deport the worst of the worst. But the pressure on his deportation forces is to just rack up pure numbers. Researchers tell our Angeline McCall that means arresting a lot of people without any criminal history.
President Trump has delivered on at least one of his promises, launching the largest deportation plan in American history.
Following the second Trump inauguration, ICE daily arrests increased by 170% at the national level.
University of Colorado assistant professor Chloe says her latest research shows that deportation plan promise came at the expense of another Trump promise, targeting the, quote, worst of the worst.
And so as ICE increases its activity, its ability to target people with a criminal conviction is falling.
East says ICE arrests of people with criminal convictions have fallen to about 30%. Compare that to Trump's first term, where we saw about 80% of people arrested with a criminal record early on in his administration.
It is also just the reality when you scale up the number of people who are arrested, there's only so many people to arrest that have a criminal conviction.
The data shows a shift, and so do the tactics. East says Democratic-run cities like Minneapolis and Portland have seen more sweeping, indiscriminate community arrests rather than targeting those with criminal convictions. Here in Colorado, East's study found a 200% increase in the number of people arrested daily, a stark rise from the 30% increase during Trump's first term.
And so even though Denver and Colorado has not yet received the kind of focus that other cities like Minneapolis has received, we still have seen a really unprecedented increase in ICE activity just in the first 10 months of the administration.
CBS Today reported that the number of people being arrested without a criminal conviction is even lower at 14% based on an internal memo from DHS. And even further, less than 2% of those arrested by ICE over the past year had serious violent crimes like rape, homicide, or sexual assault. Kyle.
And certainly, I think we tend to think when somebody's charged with a crime, it's like, well, then the next step in the process is for them to either prove their innocence or for the government to prove their guilt, but not necessarily if the person also has an immigration status that could lend them to deportation.
Right. When we talk about convictions, right, those are people who've gone through the process. There's been a real push and pull with the immigration system and the judicial system. And we've seen many people who have been streamlined through the deportation process or removal process because they've been picked up on charges and they haven't yet had the opportunity. But that really doesn't matter to immigration at the end of the day. Once they're picked up and known to immigration, they'll go ahead and do that. Of course, that's frustrating, right, to not only those families, but also immigration advocates who say that they should have their day in court because, you know, ultimately, if this is why you're going to arrest them, then, you know, you should wait for it to play out.
Folks are going to have a variety of views on how the system works, but it is important for folks to know, in fact, how it is indeed functioning. Angeline McCall, thank you.